Let me ask you something. When you look in the mirror, do you see the person you want to be, or do you see the person you've settled for? Because here's the truth. You are only 21 days away from becoming unrecognizable, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Not someday, not next year. 21 days. But it won't happen by accident. It happens when you decide, right now, to burn your excuses, break your habits, and step into the version of yourself you've always known you could be. So let's begin. Stop lying to yourself. That's the line. That's where it begins. Because every excuse you've ever made is nothing but a lie you've chosen to believe. You say you don't have time. That's a lie. You have the same 24 hours as every single person who built greatness, every single person who turned nothing into something, every single person who became a legend. The problem isn't time, it's how you waste it. How you pour it into endless scrolling, meaningless distractions, pointless conversations, and shallow entertainment. And then, when the day is gone, you pretend you were too busy. That's not busyness, that's weakness. You say you're too tired. That's a lie. You are not too tired to change your life. You are too comfortable living small. You are drained because you've been feeding on things that kill your energy instead of fuel it. Junk food, junk habits, junk thoughts. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You say you'll start tomorrow. That's the biggest lie of them all. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is the graveyard where dreams go to die. Tomorrow is the word the lazy invented to trick themselves into feeling safe. If you had the courage to start, you would have started already. So stop saying tomorrow. You either start now or you don't start at all. Excuses are poison. And the worst part, they don't just keep you where you are. They drag you backwards. They rot your confidence. They destroy your self-trust. They whisper in your ear until you believe you're powerless, until you believe you're stuck, until you forget what it feels like to be hungry for more. And once you swallow enough excuses, you don't just fail. You accept failure as normal. That's the real danger. Not falling, but learning to live on the floor. But deep down, you know this. That's why it hurts when you look in the mirror. That's why your stomach knots when you think about the goals you've abandoned. That's why every night before bed you feel the weight of all the things you didn't do, all the promises you broke to yourself. You know the truth. You've let excuses run your life. And let me tell you something. You may not want to hear, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody cares about your excuses. Life doesn't slow down for you. The world doesn't pause because you're tired, broke, stressed, or unmotivated. Life keeps moving. While you're sitting there waiting for perfect conditions, someone else is grinding, someone else is building, someone else is using the same 24 hours you wasted to become great. And one day when you see them succeed, you'll tell yourself another excuse they got lucky. No, they didn't. They just refused to keep lying to themselves. So let's get brutally honest. What's really holding you back isn't lack of time, lack of energy, or lack of opportunity. It's the habits you've chained yourself to. Habits that feel small, harmless, innocent, but they are destroying you from the inside out. You hit snooze one more time. No big deal, right? Wrong. That's the first promise you break to yourself before the day even begins. You say you'll wake up at 6, but you stay in bed until 7. You teach your brain that your word means nothing. That tiny habit is eroding your identity. You grab your phone before you even grab a glass of water. Scroll for 10 minutes, then 20, then 30. Now your morning is gone. But worse than the time, you've fed your brain with everyone else's highlight reel before you've even built your own. You wonder why you feel insecure, distracted, unmotivated. You poisoned yourself before you even got out of bed. You say you'll eat clean, but you grab the junk food because it's easy. You say you'll work out, but you let one tired thought convince you not to move. You say you'll study, but you let one notification hijack your focus. And each time you give in, you carve the habit deeper into your life. And then, this is the trap, you pretend those habits don't matter. You say things like, it's just one time, or I'll be serious tomorrow. But habits don't care about your intentions. Habits don't care about what you plan. Habits don't care about your goals, dreams, or promises. Habits obey only one master, repetition. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. Not what you say, not what you wish, not what you post, what you repeat. So look at your life. Look at the patterns. Look at the habits. Do they reflect the person you want to become, or do they prove why you're still the same? You see, every habit is a vote for your future. Every choice is a seed you plant. The body you have right now is a harvest of past habits. The money you have or don't have is a harvest of past habits. The confidence, the energy, the discipline, the mindset you carry, it's all the result of what you've repeated over and over again. Your life today is nothing more than the sum of the habits you've allowed yesterday. And here's the part most people can't handle. Your habits aren't just choices. They are chains. They own you. They run your life on autopilot. You don't even think. You just repeat. Over and over, the same loops, the same patterns, the same excuses. And then you wonder why nothing changes. You want a different body? Break the eating and sleeping habits that built the one you have now. You want a different bank account? Break the spending and working habits that chained you to your current income. You want a different mindset? Break the consumption habits that keep you feeding on garbage and distractions. Nothing changes until habits change, period. But breaking habits is not easy. That's why most people never do it. They wait for motivation. They wait until it feels right. Let me tell you something. It will never feel right. It will feel painful. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel like ripping off your own skin. But that's the price of freedom. Habits don't die quietly. They fight. They claw. They beg to stay alive. That voice in your head that says, just once won't hurt, that's the old habit fighting for survival. If you want to break it, you have to be stronger. You have to stand in the fire. You have to choose discomfort over comfort, pain over pleasure, discipline over weakness. That's the only way you kill a habit. Starve it, refuse it, deny it oxygen until it suffocates. And don't fool yourself into thinking small. You don't kind of break habits. You don't partly stop making excuses. You either cut them off at the root or you water them until they grow back stronger. Half measures don't work. You can't say you're quitting smoking while keeping a pack in your drawer. You can't say you're done with late night scrolling while keeping your phone next to your bed. You can't say you're serious about your goals while still living like yesterday. You either break the pattern or the pattern breaks you. But here's the hope. The moment you break one chain, the others start to crack. When you refuse to hit snooze, suddenly you build self-trust. When you start your day with discipline instead of distraction, suddenly you feel momentum. When you say no to the small habits killing you, suddenly you realize you have power. And that power grows. That's how you become unrecognizable, not by talking, not by wishing, not by waiting, but by refusing to let excuses and old habits dictate your future. You kill them and you replace them. You build new patterns. You feed new habits. You practice discipline until it becomes automatic. And soon enough, the person you used to be feels like a stranger. Excuses don't belong in your vocabulary anymore. Habits don't own you anymore. You own them. And the moment you take back that control, everything changes. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop lying to yourself? Are you ready to stop hiding behind excuses? Are you ready to break the chains of the habits that are killing you? Because if you are, then your transformation starts now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. No one drifts into greatness. You don't stumble into change. You don't wake up one morning magically transformed. Every transformation begins with a single act of courage, a decision. That's it, a decision, not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe, a decision. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never decide. They play at wanting to change. They dabble in self-improvement. They flirt with commitment. But when the fire burns hot, when the pressure rises, when it demands more than they expected, they fold. Why? Because they never really decided. They wanted the outcome, but not the process. They wanted the glory, but not the grind. And maybe that's been you. Maybe you've been stuck in the endless loop of starting and stopping, trying and quitting, promising and breaking promises. And the reason you keep circling is because you never planted your flag and said, this is it, I'm all in, no turning back. Do you know why people cling to indecision? Because it's safe. Because it leaves them a back door. Because it lets them say, if this gets too hard, I can always stop. Indecision is a soft pillow. It feels comfortable in the moment, but it slowly suffocates you. And that's why so many dreams die, not from lack of opportunity, but from lack of decision. Let's be real. Life only changes when you decide it must. Not when it's convenient, not when you feel ready, not when the stars align. Change happens when you hit a point where staying the same is more painful than becoming different. You know that moment. You feel it deep in your chest. That breaking point when you can't stand another day of living small, lying to yourself, pretending you're okay, that moment when you snap and say, enough, no more, that is the moment of decision. But here's the part most people don't grasp. Decisions aren't words, they're commitments. A real decision is carved into stone, not written in sand. A real decision doesn't leave room for excuses, detours, or backdoors. A real decision is final. It is binding. It is a contract with yourself that you refuse to break no matter what comes against you. When a soldier goes to war, he doesn't say, I'll fight unless it rains. I'll fight unless it gets scary. I'll fight unless I'm tired. No, he decides to fight, period, no matter what. That's the kind of decision you must make for your transformation. And it begins with burning the ships. That's what the great conquerors did. They landed on enemy shores, and to force themselves forward, they burned their own ships. Why? Because retreat was no longer an option. Victory or death, progress or nothing. And that's exactly what you must do with your old life. Burn the ships of your excuses. Burn the ships of your comfort. Burn the ships of your old habits, your old identity, your old story. Make going back impossible. And listen to me, you cannot halfway decide. You cannot keep one foot in the old world and one foot in the new. That's not a decision. That's hesitation. And hesitation is deadly. The universe does not respond to maybe. It only moves when you declare yes or no. That's why the second you decide, truly decide, something shifts inside you. You feel it. You feel clarity. You feel power. You feel the weight of hesitation fall off your shoulders, and suddenly every excuse you used to believe sounds pathetic. Because decision creates direction. Decision gives birth to discipline. Decision kills confusion. So what does your decision look like? It looks like this. No more negotiating with yourself. No more debating whether you'll do it. No more asking, should I? No. The decision is made. The answer is yes, every single time, no matter what. You decide you'll wake up early, and then you do it whether you're tired or not. You decide you'll train your body, and then you do it whether it rains or shines. You decide you'll stop drinking, stop smoking, stop scrolling, and you do it whether you feel like it or not, because feelings don't matter anymore. The decision already settled it. That's how the greats live. They don't wait for motivation. They don't beg for energy. They don't rely on hype. They decide and then they act, day after day, until the decision becomes identity, until it no longer takes willpower because it's just who they are. And don't miss this. There's freedom in decision. People think discipline feels like prison. It doesn't. Indecision is the real prison. Waking up every day wondering, should I, shouldn't I, will I, won't I? That's exhausting. That's torment. But when you've decided, there is no debate. The choice has already been made. You wake up and execute. That is freedom. But here's the warning. Making a decision requires courage, because the moment you decide, the old you begins to die. The old life starts collapsing. The comfort zone crumbles, and fear will scream at you. Fear will say, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? What if you're not strong enough? And in that moment, you must choose courage over comfort, because if you give in to fear, you crawl back to safety. And safety is where dreams go to rot. Let me tell you something. Fear isn't your enemy. Fear is the test. Fear shows up at the door of every decision. It asks, do you mean it? Are you serious? Are you willing to pay the price? And the only way you prove it is by pushing through. Every breakthrough in history came from someone who decided. Decide to fight when the odds said quit. Decide to rise when life knocked them down. Decide to keep going when the world called them crazy. Decision is the birthplace of destiny. So here's the challenge. What are you going to decide tonight? Not tomorrow, not someday, tonight. Because your future self is begging you to choose. Your future self is screaming, please, don't leave me trapped in the same body, the same job, the same life, the same cycle of excuses. Please make the decision to free me. And you know what's tragic? Most people never do. They die without ever meeting the person they could have been. They die with their potential still locked inside because they never had the guts to decide. Don't let that be you. Don't take your greatness to the graveyard. Don't let your someday become never. The clock is ticking. Every second you hesitate, your old life tightens its grip on you. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you dig your grave a little deeper. Every delay is another chain around your neck. And one day you'll look back and realize you wasted the one thing you could never get back, time. So hear me clearly. Today is the day. Right now is the moment. Draw the line, slam the door, burn the ships, make the decision that for the next 21 days you will live differently, you will act differently, you will fight differently, and nothing will stop you. Because once you decide, truly decide, you become dangerous, you become unstoppable. You become someone who cannot be bribed by comfort or broken by fear. You become a force, and the world cannot ignore a force. So say it out loud. Right now, I decide. Say it with conviction. Say it with power. Say it until it shakes your bones. I decide. I decide to change. I decide to kill the old me. I decide to rise. I decide to become unrecognizable. And once you've said it, mean it, seal it, live it. Let every action from this day forward prove it. Because once the decision is made, the only thing left is execution. No one drifts into greatness. You decide your way into it. No one stumbles into transformation. You decide your way into it. And you, yes, you, are one decision away from rewriting your entire life. So make it, right now. Discipline is the difference between the person you are and the person you want to be. Read that again. Let it sink in. Because you can dream, you can plan, you can talk, you can decide, but without discipline you will lose every single time. Motivation will not save you. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. Motivation feels good when it's there, but the moment it fades, and it will fade, you're left with nothing unless you've built discipline. And that's why most people never change. They rely on feelings. They live as slaves to moods. They wait for the right time, the right energy, the right vibe. They keep waiting for lightning to strike, not realizing that lightning doesn't strike. You light the fire yourself with discipline. Discipline means you do it when it's boring. You do it when you're tired. You do it when nobody's watching. You do it when everything in your body is screaming stop. You do it because you said you would, period. End of discussion. Consistency is discipline repeated, day after day, choice after choice, repetition after repetition. Consistency is what carves change into your identity. It is the hammer that breaks through resistance. It is the drip of water that cuts through stone. 1 day of effort means nothing. A week of effort means little. But 21 days of unbroken consistency that rewires your brain, reshapes your body, rebuilds your confidence. That's when you become unrecognizable. Let's tell the truth. Discipline hurts. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not a highlight reel. It's early mornings when your bed whispers to you to stay. It's late nights grinding while everyone else is distracted. It's pushing the last rep when your muscles are shaking. It's saying no to temptation when your mind is begging you to say yes. Discipline is pain, but it's the pain that builds you. Do you know what's more painful than discipline? Regret. Regret is waking up years later realizing you could have been so much more, but you chose comfort. Regret is watching someone else live the life you wanted, knowing you had the same 24 hours, but you threw them away. Regret is standing in front of the mirror and not recognizing yourself, not because you grew, but because you wasted. Discipline is temporary pain. Regret is permanent torture. Which one do you want? Here's the truth. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about repetition. You don't need to run a marathon today. You just need to run when you said you would. You don't need to lift 1,000 pounds. You just need to show up and train when you promised yourself. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to take the small, consistent steps that add up to transformation. Small wins stacked daily create massive change. But here's where the weak get exposed. They say it's just 1 day. Missing once won't hurt. Wrong. Missing once matters because consistency is fragile. Every time you break the chain, you train your mind to accept failure. You teach yourself that your word isn't final. And once you accept just once, it becomes twice. Then 3 times. Then a habit. And suddenly you're back where you started. So no, missing once isn't small. It's a crack in the foundation. And cracks grow until the whole house falls. The strong build a different pattern. They build streaks. They count the days. They guard their habits like treasures. They treat every small victory like it matters, because it does. Do you think great athletes skip practice when they don't feel like it? Do you think billionaires stop working the moment they're comfortable? Do you think leaders rise by doing it sometimes? No. They rise by doing it every single time, no matter how they feel. That's the key. Consistency isn't about how you feel. It's about who you are. And when you repeat discipline long enough, it becomes identity. At first, you force yourself to wake up early. Then you simply are someone who wakes up early. At first, you drag yourself into the gym. Then you simply are someone who trains. At first, you struggle to say no to bad habits. Then you simply are someone who doesn't do them. Identity is built through repetition. That's why the 21 days matter, because science proves it. Your brain rewires through consistency. Habits harden when they are repeated. Every time you choose discipline, you carve a deeper groove into your mind. Every time you show up, you strengthen the pathway. Every time you stay consistent, you make the new version of you permanent. But let me warn you, the first days are war. Your body will fight. Your mind will resist. Your old habits will claw and scream. You'll hear that voice in your head, the one that whispers, "Skip today. Take it easy. No one will know." That voice is your enemy. That voice is weakness disguised as comfort. If you listen to it, you lose. If you silence it, you win. And here's the secret: the battle gets easier. The pain doesn't vanish, but you get stronger. The more you choose discipline, the quieter that voice becomes. The more you choose consistency, the louder your confidence grows. And soon, what used to feel impossible feels normal. That's the gift of discipline. It takes the impossible and makes it your new baseline. But don't wait for it to get easier before you start. Start now. Push now. Struggle now. Because discipline only grows by being tested. You cannot read about it. You cannot wish for it. You cannot buy it. You forge it through repetition, through sweat, through doing the thing you don't want to do until it becomes automatic. And don't kid yourself. You cannot build discipline in silence forever. At some point, life will test you. At some point, you'll be tired, stressed, hurt, overwhelmed. That's when the truth comes out. Do you break or do you keep going? Do you fall back into excuses or do you stay consistent? That's when discipline reveals who you really are. And if you want transformation in 21 days, this is the rule: never miss twice. If you slip once, fine, but never twice. Never allow weakness to win 2 days in a row. Break the chain once if you must, but immediately repair it. That's how you protect consistency. That's how you stay on track. Listen, there is no magic to this, no shortcut, no secret hack. It's just this: do it again and again and again until you no longer question whether you'll do it. That's discipline. That's consistency. That's transformation. You want to become unrecognizable? Then you must become relentless. You must become the kind of person who doesn't negotiate with themselves. You don't argue, you don't debate, you don't see how you feel. The decision is made. The action is taken. Every day, without fail. And soon, 21 days from now, you'll look back and realize that discipline gave you freedom. Freedom from excuses, freedom from weakness, freedom from the prison of inconsistency, freedom to finally trust yourself, to finally respect yourself, to finally believe in yourself, because you proved it. You showed up. You stayed consistent. You built discipline brick by brick until it became your foundation, and that's when you'll be unrecognizable. Because the old you, the one who quit, the one who delayed, the one who made excuses, that version of you cannot survive in a life of discipline. That version of you dies, and in its place stands someone stronger, sharper, unstoppable. So hear me, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Consistency is not a burden. Consistency is power. And you want transformation. If you want to become unrecognizable in 21 days, then you must decide right now to build discipline and consistency like your life depends on it, because it does. The weak will keep waiting for motivation. The strong will keep waiting for the right time. But the unstoppable, they stop waiting and start doing. They build discipline. They live consistency. They win. So ask yourself, will you still let feelings run your life? Or will you choose discipline? Will you still break promises to yourself? Or will you build consistency? Will you waste another 21 days? Or will you finally become unrecognizable? The choice is yours. And once you choose discipline, once you choose consistency, nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. You are not meant to stay the same. That's the line. That's the truth. That's the reality you've been running from. You are not here to repeat yesterday, to relive old habits, to recycle the same life until you die. You are here to evolve, to transform, to become something so powerful, so sharp, so relentless that even you don't recognize yourself anymore. And the beauty of it, That transformation is closer than you think. It doesn't take 10 years. It doesn't take a lifetime. In just 21 days of brutal honesty, unshakable discipline, and relentless consistency, you can become someone entirely different, someone unrecognizable, someone unstoppable. But transformation isn't about appearances. It's not about faking success for Instagram or putting on a mask so the world thinks you're winning. Transformation is about identity. It's about killing the old version of yourself and birthing the new one. It's about shedding the layers of weakness, excuses, and mediocrity until the real you stands revealed. The old you, the one who quit when it got hard, who delayed every dream, who lived in fear. That person has to die. That version of you has to be buried. And transformation is the funeral. Transformation is where you lower that old identity into the ground and say, never again. That's not who I am anymore. Do you know what's tragic? Most people never get there. They carry their old selves like a corpse on their back. They drag their excuses into every new season. They cling to their habits like a blanket. And then they wonder why their life never changes. You cannot carry the old you into the new life you want. You cannot keep yesterday's identity and expect tomorrow's greatness. Something must die for something greater to be born. And here's the raw truth. Transformation isn't pretty. It's not smooth, it's not comfortable, it's violent, it's messy, it's painful, it feels like tearing yourself apart, because in many ways that's exactly what it is. You are tearing down the lies, the excuses, the laziness, the weakness. You are breaking chains you've worn for years. You are burning down the walls you've built to protect your comfort. That hurts, that stings, that feels like war. But listen, don't fear the pain. The pain is proof. The pain is the sign you're changing. The pain is the evidence you're not staying the same. Transformation demands suffering because comfort never built anything great. Every muscle grows by tearing. Every breakthrough comes through breaking. Every rebirth comes through struggle. Picture it. Day 1, you're still fighting the old habits. Day 5, you're still hearing the voice of excuses. Day 10, your body aches, your mind resists, your comfort zone screams. But then day 15 comes and something shifts. You wake up and realize the things that used to feel impossible now feel normal. The habits that used to own you are losing their grip. The excuses that used to sound convincing now sound pathetic. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming sharper. You're becoming different. By day 21, you don't even recognize the person in the mirror. Not just because your body looks different, not just because your energy is higher, not just because your mind is sharper, but because your spirit is alive. Because for the first time in years, you've proven to yourself that you can be trusted. You've proven that your word is law. You've proven that you are in control. And that proof changes everything. Transformation is not just about results. It's about identity. The moment you look in the mirror and realize, I am not who I used to be, you've won. Because once you've seen that new version of yourself, you can never go back. You can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. You can't pretend you're weak again because you've tasted strength. You can't pretend you're broken because you've tasted power. You can't pretend you're stuck because you've proven you can move. That's the unrecognizable self. That's the warrior, the fighter, the disciplined force who rises from the ashes of your excuses. That's the new identity that doesn't need motivation because discipline is now your DNA. That's the version of you who doesn't chase change anymore because change is who you are. And once you become unrecognizable, the world responds differently. People will notice. They'll look at you and say, what happened? How did you change so fast? Who are you? They won't understand the battle you fought in silence. They won't see the sleepless nights, the broken habits, the war in your mind. They'll only see the result, confidence, strength, fire in your eyes. And here's the secret. They'll treat you differently because you treat yourself differently. Transformation changes how you walk, how you speak, how you carry yourself. When you respect yourself, others respect you. When you trust yourself, others trust you. When you believe in yourself, others start to believe too. That's the ripple effect of becoming unrecognizable. But don't make the mistake of thinking transformation is a one-time event. It's not a finish line, it's a lifestyle. Once you've broken free from the old you, you must guard the new you. Because the old habits will try to creep back. The old excuses will whisper again. The old comfort zone will call your name. And if you're not vigilant, you'll slide back into who you were. That's why transformation requires not just intensity for 21 days, but a commitment for life. But here's the good news. Once you've transformed once, you know it's possible. Once you've proven to yourself that you can kill the old you and birth the new one, you'll never doubt your power again. And that belief makes you unstoppable. Because now you know you can transform again and again and again. Each season, each level, each challenge, you can become unrecognizable all over again. That's the path of the greats. They never settle. They never stay the same. They are always evolving, always transforming, always becoming more than they were yesterday. That's how you rise. That's how you dominate. That's how you leave a legacy. So imagine this. 21 days from today, you stand in front of the mirror. You barely recognize yourself. Your energy is fierce. Your body feels alive. Your eyes burn with certainty. Your mind is sharp, focused, relentless. And in that moment, you realize you did it. You made the decision, you built the discipline, you stayed consistent, you transformed, and when you see that new self staring back at you, something clicks inside, you never want to go back. Because you've tasted greatness, you've tasted freedom, you've tasted the power of becoming someone new. And once you taste it, you crave it, you chase it, you live it. That's why transformation is the ultimate high. Because it's not about beating others, it's about beating yourself. It's about looking at the old you and saying, I killed you, I buried you, I rose above you, and I will never be you again. So ask yourself, are you ready to see that version of you? Are you ready to become someone your past self wouldn't even recognize? Are you ready to bury the old identity and step into the fire of transformation? Because if you are, then your 21 days start now, not tomorrow, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, now. Because transformation doesn't wait for you. The clock is ticking. The old you is holding on for dear life. And every moment you delay, that old identity grows stronger. But the moment you act, the moment you fight, the moment you push, the old you begins to die. And when the old you dies, the new you rises, the unrecognizable you, the unstoppable you, the you the world has never seen before. That's who you're meant to be. That's who's waiting inside you. That's the transformation that will make you unrecognizable. So take the step, make the choice, live the discipline, embrace the pain, and rise, because in 21 days you won't just be different, you'll be unrecognizable. Tomorrow is a lie. It's the softest, deadliest lie you've ever told yourself. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll begin when I'm ready. You whisper it like it's harmless, like it's a safety net. But tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Tomorrow is the graveyard of every goal, every vision, every promise you never kept. Look around you. Most people are living in tomorrow. They talk about what they'll do one day, how they'll change when it's the right time, how they'll chase their goals after things settle down. But things never settle down. The right time never comes. And so they stay stuck in the same job, the same body, the same mindset, the same excuses. Decades pass. Regret builds. And suddenly tomorrow is gone, and so is their chance. But you don't have to live like that. You don't have to join the crowd of the waiting. You don't have to waste your life in delay. You have one weapon that changes everything, action, and not action tomorrow, action today, action right now. Understand this, nothing changes until you move. You can listen to the best speeches, read the best books, map out the perfect plan, but if you don't act, nothing happens. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be, and that bridge only exists in this moment. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. You want to know why you don't trust yourself? It's because you keep breaking your own word. You say, I'll start tomorrow. You say, I'll do it later. And when later comes, you push it further. Every time you delay, you teach yourself that your word means nothing, that you can't rely on yourself, that you are weak. And that cycle kills your confidence. It kills your spirit. It kills your potential. But the opposite is also true. The moment you act, truly act, you take back power. You prove to yourself that you are not a liar, not a quitter, not a dreamer who never does. You prove that you are in control. You prove that you are different. And that proof, that one choice to act today, can start a ripple effect that changes your entire life. Think about it. How many times have you waited for the perfect moment? How many times have you said, I'll start when I have more time, more money, more energy? But did that perfect moment ever come? No. Because perfect moments don't exist. You create them by acting when it's hard, by acting when it's messy, by acting when you don't feel ready. That's the secret. Readiness comes from action, not before it. You are not supposed to feel ready. You are supposed to start anyway. You are supposed to move scared, move uncertain, move tired. Because once you move, once you take the step, momentum takes over. Action breeds clarity. Action breeds courage. Action breeds energy. But waiting breeds nothing but dust. Waiting drains you. Waiting convinces you that you're powerless. Waiting is death in slow motion. So ask yourself, how many more tomorrows are you willing to waste? How many more chances will you throw away? How much longer will you keep betraying yourself by saying later? The truth is harsh. You don't have time. You think you do, but you don't. Life is shorter than you realize. Every day you wait is a day you will never get back. Every excuse you make steals a piece of your future. Every delay is a nail in the coffin of the life you could have lived. And that's why the only right time is now.